So I want to make a quick video, a practical video, just on how to work with emotions. And when we do emotional work, it's just really important that we kind of have some understanding of what we're doing, because it can be really easy here to get swept away. And now you're daydreaming, and now you're lost in some story, and you're not really resolving what you're feeling. So in order to do emotional work, really, let's just stick with 5 basic emotions. And I want to name them because I think it's going to be really helpful, because these are mainly the 5 that you're going to be working with. Of course, there's many complex emotions where, there's a lot of thoughts involved, and we can name all those. And there's many, you can find a list. But really, I noticed for doing emotional work, we don't have to do that. It kind of overcomplicates things. Because in essence, there's really only like 5, really. Well, maybe like 6. Like hurt can kind of course, be an emotion. But more so fear, anger, shame, sadness, guilt, right? Those are the main ones that we work with. So like on the surface, you could have like, guilt, you could have anger, shame, but then usually below that, it's the more vulnerable sadness, fear, right? So when it comes to doing emotional work, what you want to do is to notice, what am I feeling right now? The idea is just to notice what's here, right? You can even use your hands just to kind of like do this. You feel that, right? Right? This is a sensation. So I'm kind of like really starting the basic here. This is a sensation. Okay. Now let's say you're having an emotion. It's the same thing. It's a sensation that you're like bunch of sensations, usually like here, throat, chest, belly. I mean, it could be anywhere, of course, but usually we have a lot of tightness in the shoulders and here and in the jaw, especially. It just holds on to a lot. So just kind of starting to notice, oh, my body, yeah, there is some tightness here. What emotion could this be? So let's say you're having an emotional response, right? What is this? Remember those 5 words. So you can ask yourself, okay, is this anger? Is this shame? Sadness? Fear? And in essence, we're trusting the body to tell us. So with this work, it's really helpful to take the view that your body is almost like an antenna, that it's like a truth-telling antenna, almost like your body just knows that's what this is. And you can trust your body. And we can use words. So like, for example, let's say you're feeling like, oof, like, I don't know what this emotion is. I don't know what this is. Well, first, you could try something like, okay, is this happiness? What's your body say? No, right? Is this happiness? Is this anger? And you'll notice like some tightness. You'll basically notice a response in the body. And if you even gently reverse it, like, oh, I'm not angry right now. I'm not angry. Whoa, I think I am, because my jaw just tightened up. So the body never lies, okay? So if you're not sure what it is, just kind of ask yourself or reverse it, like, yeah, I'm not sad. I'm not ashamed. But go one by one. I'm doing it fast, but like do it slowly and feel in. Like, I'm not sad right now. I'm not ashamed. I'm not afraid. Whoa, I think I am. That was interesting. I think I am afraid. And now you're feeling it more, right? So basically, like reversing it, your body tells you, tightens up. Oh, that's what this is. I think this is shame. I think this is whatever. Let's say I'll just stick with anger for now. Let's say it's anger, right? You'll instantly feel it, but you don't want to just stay there, because it's like, oh, okay, I'm just going to sit with this anger. It's not going to go anywhere, because we have hidden resistance patterns. So the idea is to do proper emotional work, like, and by proper I mean effective, is you want to actually start to notice, is there resistance? And this is kind of silly. It might seem silly, but it actually works to ask yourself, let's say anger, do I want to be angry? And if there is a lot of anger within you, if you ask yourself that, you're probably going to feel a sense of no. And that's what we want. So we want that no to come up, and then we want to allow it. This is the whole idea. It's really simple. Okay, there's an emotion and there's resistance. Oh, wait, anger, and I don't want to be angry. And trust yourself. Trust what words connect to the no. It's oftentimes I don't want to, or I shouldn't, or I can't. Sometimes it's really strong, like I hate it. But most of the time, it's just, I just don't want to. I just don't want to be angry. Or I just don't want to be sad or ashamed or whatever, right? And just kind of noticing that resistance is all that we have to do. Because when we make room for it, because most of the time it's like, I'm angry, but I don't want to be. I don't want to be. Why am I so angry? I shouldn't be so angry. Why am I so angry? It makes no sense. Right? And it doesn't dissolve. But what if we notice, okay, there's anger, and then is there resistance? Do I want this? Is this what I want to feel? And trust yourself. No, right? It's like you want to draw at that no, and then make room for it. Yeah, it's like I don't want to. So you can just kind of say those words a few times, like, yeah, I don't want to. I just don't want to be angry. And you'll feel it start to release. It's really interesting, but because we assume it's the emotion, right? Well, not assume, we're taught, we're conditioned from a very young age that it's the emotion, it's anger, it's sadness, it's fear. That's what's wrong, right? Especially anger and shame, like fear, like, yeah, those are the emotions that you shouldn't have. So why do you have them, right? So you have to basically hide those emotions, not show anybody. And then when you do have an emotion like that, you have to kind of suppress it, right? Repress it. And then it kind of stays stuck here. And so we think it's the emotion that's causing us suffering, but it's actually all the protection that's pushing it down. And then the emotions can't release, right? Like if there's like a waterfall and you try blocking that waterfall, what's going to happen? You're fighting nature, right? Or like a garden hose and you're like kinking the water hose. What's going to eventually happen? Explodes. Oh my God, I'm so angry. I just exploded. Now I have to push it down even more. So this is kind of repression in action, right? Is that it's self-reinforcing, and it's like a merry-go-round that you can't get off of, because every time you explode, you have to pull back even more. And eventually it's just so tiring, right? And it could lead to depression and all sorts of things. So basically recognizing resistance. Do I want to feel this emotion? And if you stick with the 5 that I mentioned, guilt, shame, sadness, anger, fear, and hurt is another one that could also, some people could connect with as well. But really trust yourself. The important thing is that you trust yourself, because if the word frustration really feels better to you than anger, use that. I mean, eventually you're going to start to see it's all just anger. But for now, if you want to use one of the more complex terms, the more complex emotional terms, feel free. If that's what connects for you in your body. The important thing here is to always trust yourself. Number 1 tip I can always give you is keep trusting yourself when you're doing this, because the number 1 barrier is doubt. It's always going to be doubt. I can't do this. It doesn't work. It's not that simple. So just see how it is. Try it out. And lastly, I just really want to encourage you here to stay open. Really stay open. And I mean that like literally stay open, in terms of like if there's a lot of contraction, like see if you can kind of open around it, like as if you're connecting with a sense of spaciousness. That can really help, because we can get really tight, right? So just kind of, especially you'll notice as the release happens, you'll naturally feel more open anyway. But in the beginning, it's kind of helpful to encourage the openness, just to kind of like, yeah, because really you're going against a lot of momentum that's telling you to tighten up, hold it in, don't feel that way, So it can help in the beginning just to kind of encourage, sense of openness, sense of welcoming. Because really all these emotions, they're all trying to help you. They're all trying to help you. And I'll quickly mention, I don't want to overcomplicate this, but I'll quickly mention something that, say if you're connecting with any emotion, but let's say anger, right? And you start to notice the resistance. I don't want to be angry, right? It might release. But let's say it doesn't release, right? Because you're just feeling a lot of anger, okay? And what you could do, because if the resistance is if you can't connect with it, what that means is that this side is just really heavy because there's a need for it. So what you can do is like, if there's just a lot of anger, and if you ask yourself like, do I want to be angry? And you're like, yeah, I want to be angry. Oh, wait, could there be a need to be angry right now? In other words, what's the anger trying to give me? And if you can connect to that in words, trust yourself. What is this anger trying to give me? And maybe protection pops in, boundaries, safety, peace. Oh, is that what this anger is trying to lead to? And you'll just feel release. As soon as you do this, as soon as you can connect to what is it trying to give me, the anger, it just starts to really release. So that's something that I don't want to overcomplicate this too much, but basically there's a need for both sides. There's a need to push it away because maybe that'll give me some relief, something, or maybe even safety because maybe expressing anger can be unsafe, right? So pushing it away is trying to give you something. But the emotion itself is a part of you trying to give you something as well. That's why this never resolves, because there's needs on both sides. So in inquiry, we can start to notice both sides of the friction, the fixation that's happening, the tug of war within, and kind of just allowing that, especially the resistance. And you start to actually feel release, which is very automatic. The release just kind of happens very naturally because your body knows how to release. The emotions want to release. Like a natural emotion just kind of moves through, right? Like let's say if you feel excited or happy, right? It usually doesn't linger. It just kind of comes and then it kind of usually quickly dissipates, right? Although we want to hold on to that, but you notice how they quickly dissipate. That's how emotions are, especially if we express them. But if the emotion's not releasing, it's stuck, it's always because of resistance. It's not the emotion. It might seem like it's the anger or the fear or whatever. It's actually resistance patterns pushing it away, pushing it down. And where is it going to go? It's got nowhere to go except in your body. And then we're all walking around like this all the time. So yeah, that's kind of the basics of emotional work. Feel free to check out my website. I have some articles talking about this work, and check out my other videos. And if you have any comments, any suggestions, definitely let me know.